Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Bread Culture Radio Show slash podcast. This is your boy, the one and only Ice Cold AC, aka Adolphus underscore Savage on Twitter and all social media. I just wanted to check in to you today for chapter 3 of the Daily Bread Culture. Today, I'm going to take some time and speak on something that's near and dear to a lot of us, and that is loyalty. Now, on this day today, I believe it's going to be July the 6th of 2017. One thing that's been going on all over pop culture is the Rob Kardashian Black China breakup, and so essentially they've broken up, and Rob Kardashian takes it upon himself to release a series of Instagram posts, followed by tweets, put out some pictures, things of that nature. So I wanted to start off our loyalty phase of this podcast just by going into loyalty in relationships. Now, one thing that I know, we all know, as a guy, when I'm in a relationship, there are certain benefits that you receive in a relationship, in a marriage, or whatever. When you're in the confines of that relationship, everything within that relationship should be kept in that relationship. So to me, to go forward with releasing another person's private photos is honestly a bit childish, in my opinion. I mean, you got to think of it as a man, or as a woman. We get these photos, we take photos that are private, and they're just strictly supposed to be for the confines of the relationship. So, yesterday, Rob Kardashian tweets out some nudes, some just different body shots, really goes on a tangent exposing Black China. And I have to ask myself, so in a relationship, have I ever done anything of this nature to my significant other, albeit if I'm scorned or not, or have they done this to me? And I don't believe so. I know I've never done it on my part. I would hope that my significant other or others at the time and in the past would have never done the same thing to me. Once again, when you're in a relationship, some of the things that happen within that relationship, keep it within that relationship. One thing that I've learned over time is to I don't even tell my friends about a lot of the things that goes on in my relationships because it's really none of their business. To quote an old song, Genuine, it ain't none of your friends' business, ain't none of your friends' business. And that goes for friends, coworkers, parents, family, anybody. And so I just find it really despicable that a person would actually release these nudes as a way to release their frustration. Um, so I have to ask myself once again, so in a relationship, would I ever leak any photos of anybody? And I would have to say no, not on purpose, not intentionally, because I think that some of that stuff's embarrassing. Now, even for Black China being a former stripper, okay, she's been seen nude all the time. She wears risque clothes in some videos. One comes to mind, the Rich Sex video by Future, a very sexy red outfit. I mean, you can clearly see the cakes. I mean, there's no problem with that, of course. But some of the other pictures that were released, you have to think about it. If you're Rob Kardashian, you have a daughter with this woman. At one point, you strongly considered having a future with this person. And now, to an extent, you've basically just said, hey, you know what? I don't want any more to do with this person. And I'm going to just Hiroshima this whole relationship. Because now you never know. The relationship could have been salvaged at one point by keeping some of this information in house, but to now use social media as an outlet to expose people, as they say, Now I would strongly say that there's no way that couple's going to be back together. Now the mother of your child has been seen across the world nude, exposed by you. You may receive some sort of legal ramifications. He threw her under the bus and in the mud by basically saying that he also supplied her with party packs, which would be cocaine, Molly Percocets, different things of that nature. Which that's another topic that I'll get on in a second. But you basically went out there and aired your dirty laundry. And it's like, in this world, you could do that with your friends on the phone. Now, I'm not saying you expose the pictures, but you can talk to a friend. You can find a family member to express your frustration. Don't go on social media telling everybody your dirty business. We all know better than that. And I have to really sit down and ask myself, okay, how old is this Rob Kardashian dude? I mean, are you in high school? Like, why would you do that? It's nothing cool about it. It's not popping. You don't do stuff like that, especially to someone that would be of some importance. I mean, you're going to have to deal with this person for at least another 17 plus years until your child turns 18. But we all know, even once the child turns 18, you still have dealings with that other person. So I just refuse to burn that bridge and tarnish that former relationship. Furthermore, with the allegations of drug use, okay, now that's wrong, of course, on the part of Black China. But why are you buying her the drugs? And then how do you know these connects to get the drugs? And Rob, are you on drugs? You know, it kind of like, okay, now are we building a case for yourself or against her? I just don't understand. Like, why release that public information? So essentially, you expose yourself as a potential drug user or drug pusher by giving her that information, as well as you come out publicly, and once again, you just air your dirty laundry. I just can't believe it. Like, to me, it's a complete lack of loyalty going on. And I would actually invite couples to hey, let's take a break from social media and just see what life is like, and go do something. Go explore the world and then come back. You can post your pictures, you can get back to that social media life. But it just really screams to me that a person would be so disloyal as to go and leak another person's photos or photo online. And I just can't believe it. Once again, this is a different society than the society I grew up being born when I was born, and coming up through the 90s and early 2000s. It seems like mentally people are on a different level. I look through my timeline and I see people getting exposed all the time. And where's the loyalty in exposing people? Because at the end of the day, you both look like fools. At the end of the day, Rob, you exposed yourself by being thirsty, begging for photos. So I have to ask myself, Rob, was it really worth it? So, sticking with the topic of loyalty, go ahead and bring up another thing, since we're just going to be talking about relationships and things like that. So my next piece is loyalty within the frame or the confines of a job. Let me tell you this, people. Do not be loyal to these jobs. They are not loyal to you. If you work at a call center, you're just an extension. If you work fast food, you're just a worker. If you work in any other corporate field, you're just a badge. These jobs, it's not worth your life. I understand, make your money, save, handle your business, achieve your dreams and goals. But you have to treat the job the same way they'll treat you. If you have sick days, use a sick day. It's no point in you coming in and working half-ass, and they're not going to say, hey, you know what, on your yearly review, hey, 7 months ago, you came in and you just bombed, completely sucked that day. We had to write you up for that day, even though we understand you came in sick, still you had a bad day. And it's like you should look at it as if this is not your wife. This is not your life. Loyalty to the job should be treated as a side piece. Hey, I get what I can get out of you and I go home to my real wife, to my real family. So that's one tip that I wanted to give today. When it comes to these jobs, treat them like a side piece. Get what you got to get and go home. Because the thing is, they're going to use you for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life. They'll suck out of you. By the time, if you have a decent enough job to where you receive a pension or have a 401k, you'll have just enough to barely make it. And then it'll come down after that to the point where, and I'm sorry, I'm receiving a phone call as of right now. We try to keep it as real as we can. But then after that point, they'll suck you up, leave you dry. Inflation's going to be way up by the time you retire. I mean, right now, if I were to work at my age, I probably have another 15 to 30 years to go of work, maybe 35, 40 years to go. By that time, I'm old, probably going to be extremely unhealthy. The end of the line for me. And it'll be like I worked all that life to pay off a house and die, essentially. And that's the sad thing about reality. So once again, don't give them your all. Don't be that loyal to them, because you know what? If anything happens to you, do you think those bosses down the line that you work for are going to be at your funeral? Will they be celebrating you? I highly doubt it. And I mean, at the end of the day, each and every one of us can be replaced by someone younger and cheaper, or someone highly educated. So my speech on the loyalty of that aspect is, as far as the job is concerned, you don't have to be as loyal to them. It's still good to work hard. I'm not trying to say that you should slack off. So it's still good to work hard, have values, have morals, achieve everything you can achieve at that level that you're at. But just don't give them everything you have. If you're going to be loyal to work, be loyal to a craft or a business to yourself. Be dedicated to that. Be dedicated to making yourself better. And I think that's a solid point and a solid way to think. So next, once again, that was just going to be a short one about loyalty to jobs. So next, I want to give you my aspect on loyalty when it comes to friends. So friends are a tricky beast. There was once a song by Houdini, How Many of Us Have Them? Friends. Very good song, by the way. And it's actually true to this day. One thing that I will say, as a person who moved around a lot as a child, and I'd come in these different cities as a military brat, and it was always a constant thing about starting over. Now, with the military, it was cool because everyone else was in that lifestyle, so they're used to switching friends every 2 to 4 years. But then when your parents get out and you go somewhere else, and now you're in middle school, you're in high school, you have to develop new friends. It's hard for people to even accept you because they already have their core group of friends. And so what ends up happening is you never really become a best friend of anybody. You're just kind of a friend. They never really know you. And that's one thing I think people need to really get out of the habit of, is be more open to having friends. Even from the perspective of a best friend. Like, I would say I have a lot of best friends. I have a lot of really good friends. And I say that I'm fortunate in that aspect to be able to have had so many best friends from so many different areas, so many different cultures. That's really helped shape the man that I am today. But you have to be open to making new friends. You can't just like I look at some of my closest friends throughout my 4 years of high school and even in college. Some of them I don't even really speak to anymore at all. I mean, we don't have any beef, it's just you grow apart. So it's kind of like, in a sense, you have to be willing to grow and change and adapt. But I will talk about loyalty when it comes to friends because I think that does mean a lot. I think for anybody, you have to be able to go out here when it comes to friends. If you're going to have friends, you need to treat them with the same amount of respect and trust that you expect to be treated in. When I say that, speaking from a loyalty perspective, if you're my friend, I should never have to worry about hearing anything I confided into you out in the regular world. I mean, even if you, let's say, if me and you are really good friends and you have a best friend, I still don't need you to confide in them with my information because that's gossiping. And then what it does to the person's psyche is now I don't know if I can fully trust you because you've leaked out my business. So make sure if you have friends and you're going to be a friend, think about some of the things that you do to friends. I remember being in some friendships where it's almost like you look around and you'd have friends that'll be loyal to you as long as you're doing what they need you to do. But then sometimes you have to look and say, okay, I need the type of friends that are going to be supportive and also be willing to do the things I do. I had this conversation with my current girlfriend, and we were talking about the movies, and we do have two different tastes when it comes to movies, such as I do like going to see the big blockbuster action films, the Transformers, the Marvel movies, the DC movies, whatever's the big action movie. She's more of a love story person, and we kind of meet in the middle with drama and comedy, which is good for us. But I remember I had to tell her once, when you're in a relationship, when you're in a friendship, sometimes you have to make sacrifices to make that other friend happy. And I say a case in point. I went with my girlfriend to a movie that I just really didn't want to see, but I knew she wanted to see. And so what I did was I didn't necessarily fake it till I make it, but I went in there, I paid attention, and I watched the movie with no complaint. Even though it's something I didn't want to do, I understand that in this friendship, in this relationship, it's needed to sometimes compromise to make the other person happy. So I'm going to tie that back into the friendship element and essentially just say when you're in a friendship, when it comes to loyalty, sometimes think of, hey, I'm going to go to that party because they want me to go. Even though I may not feel like it, I may be a little tired today. I may have had a long 10 hours at work. But because you're my friend and I'm loyal to you, I'm going to go to that party with you. Or even if you have an older friend, maybe they like some things that are a little different. Maybe they're more of a homebody, but they do like to explore. So they like going to zoos, they like going to museums, things like that. Go with them. Go with them. Even if you don't like a museum, you can actually open yourself up to new things and take that friendship to that next level by showing, hey, you know what, even though we're doing things that I may not necessarily do on my own, because I'm loyal to you, I'll do it for you. So many people in this world with trust issues. So many people that are unloyal. These, in this chapter 3 of the Daily Bread Culture, I'm trying to give you guys just a few pointers of how we can begin to tie things together and build stronger and better friendships, because I do think that that is important. Well, anyway, I think I'm about out of time for today. So I'm gonna go ahead and uh, dismiss. Of course, you guys, I am Adolphus underscore Savage on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Adolphus Savage without the E on Facebook. You can check us out at Daily Bread Cult on Twitter. And shout out to, of course, my homeboy, my co-host Ron. Can't wait to have you on the next episode. I thank you guys, and you are dismissed. This is the Daily Bread Culture signing out.